The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Great Falls, Montana, on your new apparatus, job number 28969. Please utilize this job number when referencing your vehicle with Hughes Fire Equipment. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start with the front bumper. Starting at the passenger side, you have a right and left electronic siren. Moving just inward of that, you have dual air horns. Moving just inside of that location, you'll find two latches to gain access to the tubbed hose area inside the center. Moving up onto the top, you'll find a bell on the passenger side, and on the driver's side, you'll find your mechanical siren. Moving up from that onto the actual cab of the apparatus, you'll find a right and left turn indicator. Moving just inside in that same cluster, you'll find your low beam headlights, and just inside of that, you'll find your high beam headlights. Just above that location, you'll find a blue and a white warning light on the passenger side, and on the driver's side, you'll find a red and white warning light. Let's go ahead and move up just above that onto the actual outer edges. You'll find a right and left mirror. These are two-portioned mirrors, top section being flat, the bottom section being convexed. Also in the center, you'll find windshield wipers. And at the very top of the brow, you'll find your running lights. Running all the way across the top, there are 5. Mounted in the center, you're going to find your forward-facing floodlight. And on the very top of your apparatus, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Let's take a look at the top cab area here. At the very top, you can see in the warning light bar, you'll find an Opticom. And just once again beneath that, this is your forward-facing floodlight. Here are some generalized close-ups of those individual items we just talked about. This is that forward-facing flood. Looking now at the cluster of emergency and headlights. Moving down onto the driver's side, this is your mechanical siren and also your PA and electronic siren. And the same on the opposite side, PA siren and air horn. Just inside of that pull-down compartment, this lift-up, you'll find a 1.5-inch discharge port. And at the very bottom of your apparatus, you'll find 2 closed tow hooks. On the side of the apparatus, this is going to be the driver's side. You have the emergency warning light. And on the opposite side, you have this access door. Behind this access door is the information and cab tilt for your apparatus. At the very top, you'll find your lock release to release the cab. And just beneath that, you'll find your activate. And moving to the far right, the large red. This is the selector for lowering and raising. Be cautious when doing this. In addition, secure all items within inside the cab. Let's go ahead and take a look at your mirrors real quick. Once again, as we mentioned earlier, you have a 2-portion mirror, the very top portion being flat and the very bottom portion being the convex portion. Generalized view of the side of your apparatus. Let's take a look at your wheels. You have Goodyear tires. In the center, you have Alcoa wheels. And in the very center of that, you have a Stemco hub visual indicator for fluid. Just underneath every point of entry, you'll have access lights. In the very front section in front of the wheel, this is going to be your battery charger for shore inlet. Just behind that, you're going to find the cab inlet AC shore power inlet. Those are both auto eject plugs. Once again, just underneath that, you'll see your entry lights. And beneath that, you'll see a red and black termination points for 12 volt. On the side of the apparatus, you'll see your blue warning lights. This is going to be just to the rear section of the cab. Here's a generalized view of the cab section. Let's talk now about your pump panel and some of the contents within it. But as we look just up above, you'll find a floodlight that's side-facing or multi-directional. Generalized view of your pump panel. Let's start at the very left-hand side of your pump panel. Starting that, you're going to find at the very top, you have 2 crosslays in yellow, number 1, and in white, number 2. In the very center, you'll find a warning label regarding entanglement because this is attached to the apparatus and therefore can cause entanglement.
Let's go ahead and move down further on to the section of the pump panel here. As we look on the left, you'll find your Foam Pro instructions, and also to the right in the blue area, the Foam Pro controls. In the green area here, you'll find your Foam A tank level indicator. On the right-hand side, the smaller gauge, you're going to find your transmission temperature, and just beneath that, your pump hours. Looking up to the very top, we're going to talk about some warning lights. These are all amber colored. This is your check transmission. Just beneath that, you have a check engine, which is also amber color. And just beneath that, you'll have, if indicated, a red stop engine light. Moving down to the very bottom, you're going to find the number 1 crosslay. This is a water foam crosslay. Moving to the side of that, you're going to find the number 2 crosslay. As you can see, they're also color-coded yellow and white for the 2 crosslays just above. This is going to be your rear 1.5 inch pre-connect. It also has foam capabilities, and also a rear 2.5 inch with foam capabilities. Moving just to the right of that, you're going to find your Flowminder totalizer. That's a button just beneath that. In the center here, you'll find your Pierce information. We'll talk a little bit about this as we move to the cab contents in the next set of images in the cab. Let's go ahead and take a look at the very top here of the pump panel. You have your pump intake. To the right of that, you'll find your pump discharge. In between the pump intake and pump discharge, you'll find 2 ports which currently have plugs in them. This is going to be your vacuum and pressure ports. Moving down on the gray section here, you'll find your pump boss for throttle and pressure of your engine. Moving just to the right of that, you'll find a small round speaker. This is an audible alarm. And we'll talk a little bit about some of these gauges here, or I should say switches, in the next set of images. So we'll come back to that. You're also going to have your pump recirculating line, and just beneath that, your engine cooler. Let's go ahead and move all the way to the other side. You're going to find this wheel valve here. There's a discharge here for this, large diameter. And as we move to the right, you'll find your driver's side rear 2.5. And this is going to be in orange, your number 2 discharge. Moving all the way to the right-hand side, you'll find your Hale primer. And now let's talk a little bit about those switches as we have a close-up here of that image. At the very top, you have your pump lights. In green, you'll find a pump engaged indicator, and just beneath that, your air horn, and then you have 2 future locations for switches. Generalized view here of the lower section of your pump panel. Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner. We're going to find once again another discharge. This is your front discharge. Moving over to the right-hand side here, another wheel. This is a large diameter discharge. And as we move up, just in the red section here, this is going to be your foam information and instructions. And to the right, be very cautious. This label is a warning regarding pressurized caps and the hazards associated with that. As we move to the next, this is a 2.5 inch discharge, number 1. It's going to be an informational plaque regarding warnings. Please see your owner's manual for that. As we move to the right-hand side, this is your auxiliary 2.5 inch inlet. And as we move to the very far right, you'll find this is going to be your air inlet. This is a turn, not a pull. And just beneath that is the air chuck. Moving just beneath that, you can see on a horizontal level, this is going to be your auxiliary inlet drain. And as we move all the way to the very far right here in yellow, this is the number 1 discharge. This is the drain associated with that discharge. In the center, uncapped right now, this is going to be your large diameter intake. And now let's go ahead and move up to the very top section here. This is going to be a digital indicator for your tank vision for water. Up at the very top, this is your tank fill. Moving down from that, this is your tank to pump. In the next section beneath that, this is going to be a placard regarding your Pierce pump. This is going to give you your 150, 200, and 250. This is your maintenance schedule for those and the associated RPMs and pressures for that. As we move down to the lower section, you'll find individually colored discharge drains for each of those discharge ports. Located in the center, you'll find tubbed storage location, which has securing devices. As we move just underneath that, you'll find your master drain. This is a turn valve. And moving up onto the right-hand side of your pump panel, you'll find fold-down steps with work step lights. Underneath, just in front of the tire and to the rear of the tire, you'll find your folding wheel chocks. Let's go ahead and move to the center of the apparatus here in the body area. You'll find a turn indicator in the lower section, and just above that you'll find an access door which houses your 2 SCBA storage locations for bottle storage. Moving just to the rear of that, you'll find this access door. This is going to be the access door for your diesel fill and also your DEF fill. Currently revealing the silver cap for diesel fill. As you pull down the individual divider, you'll see that it reveals the blue cap, which is 4.5 US gallons of DEF. Moving just beneath that, you'll find a 20 amp outlet. And at the very top rear section of your apparatus, you'll find a side-facing flood, warning light, and a marker light. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the contents within this compartment. This is just behind the pump panel area. First, you'll find your auto charger when plugged into shore power. You'll also find your G1, which stands for generator 1. This is the breaker panel associated with the generator. Also not pictured, you can't see it, but it is the S1. I'll have that in the next image. Here's your S1 panel for shore power, and also your generator controls for start and stop. And there are also 2 fuses located in this location. Down to the lower section of the same compartment, you can see you have on the back wall an SCBA mount. Let's move to the center compartment. As you can see here, you have an adjustable shelf. It's currently in a fixed position. We're now on the rear section, driver's side. This is a 2-section door. Once the first door is open, to gain access, reach inside lower section. You'll find another latch to allow the second door to open. This compartment houses an adjustable shelf on the top and a roll-out shelf on the bottom. This is the mechanism that allows you to disengage the shelf to allow it to be pulled to the outward position. Let's go ahead and move to the rear of the apparatus. We'll talk about some of the components here. Let's go ahead and move up to the very top of the apparatus. On the passenger and driver side, you'll find a combination of red and blue warning lights. Let's move down to the lower section. You'll find on the right and left side a turn indicator. Just up from that, you'll find your brake light. Just to the very bottom in white, you'll find a reverse or backup light. Just inside of that, you'll find a step work light. And above that, you'll find an emergency warning light. There are a set of controls on the left-hand side, which would be the driver's side. This is your rear hose bed lights in addition with your rear scene lights. Just above this area, you'll find a compartment door, which houses your 10-foot ladder, which is folding, and also long tool storage. Generalized view of the rear section of your apparatus. As we look on the far right-hand side, you'll find additional long storage and the possibility of tool storage just beneath that. I would like to point out this is a compartment door that does lift in the upward direction. May be deceiving when you're standing at the very top looking down. That is not a step action. There's also board storage and ladder storage in that location, and you also have a roll-up door in the very center. Once we gain access to that roll-up door, you'll find a 200-foot electrical reel. This is 120 VAC and is also a 20 amp cord. This is also the location for the push button for the cord reel rewind. Here's an image of those steps in the current fold down position with also work lights and step lights in the area. Let's look at the passenger side or right hand side of the apparatus. This is going to be an access door, and behind this is your 24-foot extension and your 14-foot roof, and at the very top you have long pole storage. At the very bottom of the apparatus there are perimeter lights in addition with 2 pull-out fold-down steps. As we look at the top of your apparatus, you have a fully enclosed hose bed cover in addition with storage locations on both the left and right hand side. In those storage locations you'll find lighting within those storage locations. Let's go ahead and move to the very front, generalized view looking from the rear to the front. We'll talk about some of the components here. Let's start first with the left-hand corner. This is going to be your 500-gallon capacity water tank in blue. Moving to the right of that in green, you're going to find you have a foam tank, which is classified as foam A. Also in this area, you'll find your large diameter or master stream device at the very top. And in this compartment storage area, you'll also find your onboard generator. Generalized view looking forward, you can see there are no step indicators on the right and left for warning. Also on the cab, you'll find this chrome device at the very top. This lever allows you to lift your cross-lay hosebed cover and allows it to latch, allowing it to stay in the open position. This is going to be looking from the front to the rear of your apparatus with the hosebed storage covers open, dividable hosebed storage, in addition with side storage on each side. Generalized view of the rear and side of your apparatus. Let's first start in the upper left-hand corner. As you can see, you have a red and at the very front warning light that's blue. There's also a side-facing floodlight in the rear on the passenger side and also on the driver's side. Let's go ahead and move now down underneath the apparatus. Just in front of the rear wheel, you'll find your exhaust. This is your exhaust for the generator, and moving just forward of that, you'll find your exhaust for your main engine. Just above these exhaust locations, you'll also find, which is difficult to see in this image, a warning label regarding hot exhaust. Let's go ahead and take a look inside the compartments now. As you can see in this compartment, very rear passenger side, there are two adjustable shelves. Moving just forward, you'll find this compartment over the rear wheel. Once we've gained access into this, it does lift in the upward position, as do all the other compartments have interior lighting. Let's go ahead and now move down to the lower section here. You'll find a external plug. This is a 20 amp external plug. Moving just up from this location, you'll find an access door. Behind this access door is a location for the possibility of at least 2 bottle storage locations for your SCBAs or any other type of bottle storage you choose. Moving just forward of this location, about mid-tire area, you're going to find an emergency warning light just as you do on the opposite side. And moving forward of that location, you'll find additional access door here for SCBA bottle storage. You can see that this can accept at least 2 SCBA bottles in this location. Just beneath that, you also have a marker turn indicator. Moving forward, an additional compartment here with, once again, lighting with inside. And looking up at the section here, midsection of your apparatus, this is venting for your onboard generator. Moving down from this location, you'll find a 2.5 inch discharge. Just down from that, you'll find your large diameter discharge. And down from that, not capped, you'll find the large diameter intake. Let's talk about access doors on this side. Behind this compartment door, you'll find your foam drain. In addition, moving to the right-hand side here where the arrow is indicating next, this will be your adjustments for your relief valve. Let's go ahead and move down to the very lower section of your pump panel. These are all going to be drains. These are turns here on the left-hand side and round. Those are for your manifold drains. To the right-hand side, these are going to be your discharge drains. They are all color-coded in addition with labeled. Moving up to the very top behind this access door, you'll find some foam controls in addition with general access into this area. Let's go ahead and move down to the very bottom. You'll find tub storage. In this tub storage, you'll also have 2 devices here for securing. And as we move forward of that tub storage, you'll find an additional step with also perimeter lighting. Let's go ahead and take a look at a generalized view of the side of your apparatus. Just as you have on the passenger and on the driver's side, you'll find this adjustable height 360-degree floodlight. Beneath that floodlight, you'll find an additional on-cab warning light. And here's a general view of your apparatus from the forward section. Let's now talk a little bit about some of the components here. As we look entering the cab, you'll find every entry point has information and warning about seat belts. Your cab steps also deploy when the door is in the open position. And let's talk a little bit about some of those warning labels that are associated with inside your cab. Please pay close attention to those warning and hazard labels. On the left-hand side is your auto charger system. In the center is your air inlet, and to the right-hand side is your air step pressure. Moving just inside the cab, we'll find a variety of different components. Let's focus just about knee height on the left-hand side of the knee. You're going to find your battery switch in red, and to the right-hand side, you'll find your pump shift for pump engaged and OK to pump. Just beneath this location, you'll find a variety of diagnostic ports for service. To the right-hand side, just about ankle height, you'll find this label. This indicates your date of manufacture, the job number, gross vehicle weight rating, in addition with tire cold inflation, your VIN, and also fluid capacities. Just underneath the operator's seat, you'll find an additional access door for storage. We'll go ahead and now talk a little bit about some of the contents with inside the cab. As you can see on the column, your right and left turn indicator. Let's talk about the dash. On the dash on the left, at the very bottom, you're starting with your volts. Moving across, you have your oil pressure. In the very center location here, you'll find your DEF level. This is that 4.5 gallon tank. Moving to the right, this is going to be your diesel fuel tank. To the right of that location is going to be your transmission temperature. And on the very far right hand side here, you can see this is your rear air. These are for your brakes. Let's go ahead and move up to the upper section here. On the upper left, you'll find this label here. This is for your height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating. It also has the job number associated just underneath that. We'll now move down to the next set of gauges. As you can see here is your water temperature. Moving to the right is your tachometer. And to the right of that is your speedometer. To the very far right, you'll find your front air for your front air brakes. And at the very top right-hand corner, you're going to find a caution regarding using your retarder for wet or slippery surfaces. Let's go ahead and move all the way to the left-hand side of the dash. You'll find your ignition switch, your panel dims, your headlights, and also your start switch. Moving to the right, you'll find information here that illuminates. You can see here the lit battery indicator. There are other indications in that area. Just up on this panel, you'll find your high idle and OK to engage the high idle. Once again, review the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating in this upper left-hand corner of your dash. And as we move generalized view here of the right-hand side of your dash, let's start down at the section of switches here. You have your DPF regen, your DPF regen inhibit, off-road traction devices, mirror heat, engine on-off for your engine brake, and also low, medium, and high for that engine brake. Moving to the upper section of that, you're going to find your Pierce Information Center. This has a variety of different information on it here, all the way from your fuel storage, oil, pressures, temperatures, a variety of information regarding seatbelt information and compartments ajar. This is a scroll button on the left-hand side, and also in the very center, you can go through the menu system. Very helpful information within this control panel, similar to the one, or I should say the same as it is on the side of the apparatus at the pump panel. Let's move down to the lower section. Just beneath this, you'll find your system parking brake and also a seatbelt alarm. Moving to the right of that, or just beneath that area, you'll find your Allison transmission pad and a pump indication in drive. Also, you have your main mirror and also your convex mirror controls. And then just in this area, you'll find your start and stop for the generator, instructions regarding that generator. Beneath that, a 120 manual transfer, front, driver side flood, and passenger side flood lights. Once again, moving down here, here is the full instructions regarding your generator operations instructions. It's located on this. It's also located on the pump panel next to the generator controls. Overhead, generalized view here. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner of your apparatus. In this section, you'll find a variety of different push-on, push-off switches and also map lighting. But let's first start with your emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, upper rear warning, the control for your Opticom, and also your high beam flash. Moving just to the right of that location on the next set of switches, you'll find your siren or horn selector, your perimeter lights, rear scene, in red, your siren brake, and then you have 4 possibilities for future switches if you choose to use those in those blank areas. Moving to the right of that, this is going to be your stereo, onboard stereo. Located in the very front of your apparatus, you'll find this red light. This is a warning light regarding not to move your apparatus, that you have a door on your apparatus that has not been secured. Just to the rear section of that, you'll find your main unit radio for communications. And attached just underneath your main unit radio, you'll find your siren and also your PA system. Just to the right of the operator in the center console area, you'll find an additional access door. This access door, behind it, you'll find fuses and also relays. Moving down just next to the seatbelt area, you'll find your fill for your windshield wiper. That's the cap located here at the very top. Let's go ahead and take a look from the outside. Looking into the rear section of the cab, you'll find these roll-up doors. Just at the base of the roll-up doors on each right and left-hand side, you'll find a compartment storage in this location. As we move just inside the compartment, you can see adjustable shelves here, and at the very top you also have shore power outlet in addition with a 12-volt outlet at the very top. This is going to be for your shoreline and also for generated power. Looking overhead, you can see your air conditioning controls, your David Clark headsets, and also your rear-facing SCBA seats. Let's talk a little bit about those. These are the two seats just to the passenger and driver side, rear-facing, and these are your SCBA seats. Looking overhead, you'll find your controls for your AC unit and also your heating unit. Looking down at the right and left-hand side here, just as you enter the door, you'll find a fold-down seat that's forward-facing. Located in the center between those two SCBA seats, you have locking storage locations here. Those storage locations, when opened, also have lights with inside for easy access. Let's go ahead and move now down to the lower section of the roll-up compartment doors. You'll find in the very center area this access door, which gains access into that section underneath the roll-up doors. At the very top of the roll-up compartment doors, you'll find two switches. In addition, within the center, a lockable storage location or access door. This access door also has lighting within inside. Let's go ahead and now move to the very front section in between the passenger seat and also the driver. You'll find this padded storage location. Once this is pulled in the upward position, you'll find this two-latch compartment door. This is the compartment that accesses for your daily checks for oil and transmission. Let's go ahead and now move to the very front of your apparatus on the passenger side. Gaining entry, you'll find at all entry points, once again, this warning label regarding seatbelt and the usage of seatbelts. And you also might find these throughout the apparatus, this candy cane style sticker there indicating that there is spare wiring behind this panel area. Underneath the operator seat and also the passenger seat, you'll find an access storage location at the very bottom. This compartment door, when open, reveals that you have additional storage here in this spot. Moving just forward of that, you'll find your bell location for the pull rope for your bell. This is going to be in the passenger seat in the very front. Just up on the left-hand side of the passenger, you'll find your computer, and also you have map book storage, and also you'll find on that console that candy cane style spare wire indicator. Overhead, you can see you have an intense map light and also push on, push off red and white lights, and also your David Clark headset system. You'll also find you have 12-volt barrel style access here near the warning do not remove sticker, and also in the very front you'll find your vehicle data recorder. Congratulations, Great Falls, Montana, on your new apparatus, job number 28969. If you have any questions as to the content of this video or any questions, please direct those to your sales representative at Hughes Fire Equipment. Thank you.